Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Camerascore, where we discuss all things media. And this week we are talking about another video game movie. It's beginning a new era, a new way of doing things. We had Iron Lung with Markiplier. Now we have Exit 8 created by a Japanese studio. How was it? Does it continue the trend of video game movies in an exciting and new way? Or does it not live up to expectations? Let's first start with the positives. So right off the bat, it is a very cool concept. These anomaly, what's different games have been a thing for years and years and years. But this one having a horror context is really, really cool. The way they executed them having to know what is up next in the train station and a lot of the mostly seamless cuts. They try and make it seem like it's all one continuous hallway. As someone who's trained in detecting where hidden cuts are, I could see most of them, if not all of them. But it was still cool in the way that was done, and most people probably didn't notice how it was executed. Similar to the scene in Severance, they did it pretty well, where you can't really tell where the hallway begins and ends. And I think it is really cool to look into another perspective. I love when they do foreign films that just give you an insight into everyday life of people in other countries, how their train station operates, which I've been to, which is unfortunately way better than any train station we have, including New York, way cleaner, even though they kind of dirtied it up for the film, which is a little funny for me. But I guess that's one of the first few cases I've ever experienced where the reality is cleaner than the film makes it look. The film usually cleans it up. But hey, it is what it is. That is done really well. A lot of the horror aspects are done pretty well in this too. The walking down the hallway and noticing this small anomaly of eyes following you and these little pieces chasing you, or the man you've seen 40, 50 times having this big creepy grin similar to the movie Smile with a smile. That was done pretty cool. And I also like how they tried to insert some story into this as well. Not just escaping the anomaly, but also getting a life lesson for the character, learning about why he should care about children and why he should stand up for others and, stop being so passive in his own life and ignoring it. There's a little bit of a message about being glued to screens and everyone kind of being sucked into their own world and not interacting with others or helping anyone else out. I thought that was pretty cool. It's also interesting to see that, as expected, that issue here is the same as over there. Pretty cool there. But unfortunately, that's where it ends for me in terms of positives. There were so many things in this film that just took me out of it, and that's where we get into the negatives. So where to begin? The pacing. Oh my goodness. It wasn't even late at night. It was like midday. And I was fighting sleep watching parts of this film. I'm sorry. It might be more interesting for some people who maybe played the games a little bit more. I only played it as a cursory glance on PlayStation. But for me, it just wasn't as entertaining as a horror movie should be. It was short, hour 45, less than 2 hours, maybe even closer to hour 30. That is where a horror movie should operate unless it's something exceptional like Sinners, even though Sinners wasn't really that scary. Somehow, even with that shortened time, I was still fighting sleep for a large portion of this film. It just is not executed well. And what I mean by that is the game itself. You're looking for these anomalies. There's these consequences you have to personally deal with and run from. The film, they're just checking the same six to eight things and not letting you see them necessarily, but letting the main character notice them. I think it would have been cooler if they had more moments like when he sees the eyes and they're following him, but he doesn't notice it. That would be cooler and more tension filled. And a lot of the scares, some of them are decent, but half of them are not. A large portion of this film was just them walking through the hallway, looking at things, seeing something slightly scary, looking at things, going back, going forward. It almost felt like I was watching a playthrough of the game in a more boring way. And I don't understand how they managed to take this cool, novel concept and turn it into this almost a slogfest. I'm sorry. I just did not find it entertaining and engaging throughout most of the film. I literally had to fight sleep. Like I said, I cannot emphasize enough, I never fall asleep during movies. But somehow this movie found a way to do it. Another thing is, I do commend them trying to have a message throughout the film, but the message just doesn't hit in a real way. It's like a half attempt and effort, and then even the ending is like this cutaway, and you're like, oh, what did he do? Did he do the right thing? I mean, that's cool, I guess, but it just feels a little ham fisted. They threw it in there because they wanted to add some depth, some substance, and I commend that once again. But the depth and substance they added isn't really substantial enough for me. Even the inclusion of the little kid, it kind of helps with the plot, but it doesn't really add too much either. I think what happened in this film, for me personally, my interpretation is they took this simple concept, a 30-minute game, and they said, let's make it into a full feature length film. So let's add more to it. But I still think the aspects that make the game fun, i.e., the anomaly detection and the scares, do not translate well into this film at all. Another thing is there's some questionable direction choices. I understand the game itself is first person, they wanted to pay homage to that. But that whole first person beginning scene does not do anything for the film besides just be kind of annoying in my personal opinion. I could have done without that entirely. And there's a lot of things in this film I could have done without. But here's the thing, it's a short film. If you take those out, then the film would have been like a short film, maybe 45 minutes or something like that, 50 minutes. And I know they wanted that feature length. It's just the things that they added to get it to that feature length don't necessarily do too much for me. But I'm just here for the camera score. And for this film, the best I could give it is a 6 out of 10. It's above average. It has some elements that are cool. The fact that it takes place in Japan gives it some novelty, as well as the anomaly search gives it some novelty for me. But unfortunately, it's just nothing super special or entertaining in my personal opinion. But hey, you let me know. Maybe I'm completely wrong and everything flew over my head. Maybe the anomaly here is me and I didn't notice what was going on in the film. You let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys next week at 5 p.m.